And what is going on, everybody?
Wow.
Welcome to debut episode of Limping Out of the Fire, a new podcast with myself and the man himself right over there, right there, Seth Williams. Seth, how are you, brother?
I'm good, man. That was quite an opening. The first
Yeah.
time I've seen the entire thing.
Yeah, you
Very
like that?
exciting. Yeah, I did. Yeah.
I like how his leg keeps switching from left to right, having the mechanics in it. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Well, as you guys are aware, this is not the Seth Williams show. This is a different show. This is Limping Out of the Fire. It's something Seth and I have talked about for, I don't know, how long have we been talking about this, man? Over a year, right?
Yeah, doing something a little bit different. And
Yeah, and
we still have our Seth Williams show on Wednesdays,
we do, yes.
which is a little bit more, I don't
Silly?
know, silly. Yeah, news, talk, and swearing and fun. But yeah, it's different.
Yeah, it's definitely, this one is going to be a little more serious, although anybody that knows anything about me or Seth knows that it's not going to be super, super serious. I mean, we will have serious moments on here, but for the most part, it's going to be us doing our thing and not. You're not going to get the X-rated stuff. We'll put it that way. That stuff you can hear on Wednesdays.
Yeah, it's another day.
Yes, but there is a goal behind this, and Seth and I have both lived through. Well, we've both lived through what I call an NDE, a near-death experience. What that means is that something happens to somebody and it changes their life forever. It literally should have killed them. It didn't, but it made every single aspect of their life change. I know that's what happened to me with my burn accident. I'm assuming the same way with you, yes?
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's a definite change thing. The truth is, and Seth, you could probably talk about this a little more than me just because my accident was so long ago. But the thing that's missing when you're going through something is finding the support of when you're going through it. You know, you're going through a bad situation, but at the same time, you know, there's no one to reach out to say, hey, how do I get through this? Or how do I react to that? Or, you know, whatever is going on, you know, and like we said, everything changes from the way you eat, sleep, walk, stand, I mean, anything, bathroom,
It's completely different. Everything is.
everything. And what we want to do is we want to kind of talk about this stuff, but talk about it in a way that people can kind of, you know, even if you don't have something going on, even if you're not going through something, it's a guarantee that somebody you know is going through something. Every one of us knows somebody that has a broken leg from a car accident, cancer, leukemia, whatever it would be. You know, everybody goes through something. And what ends up inevitably happening is when you're going through something, you feel super, super alone, super, super fast. Yes, Seth?
Absolutely. I mean, I have family at home, of course, like my wife and my daughter, and as much as they love me and care about me and did what they could, they don't know, and they still don't know what you go through on a day-to-day basis. So even the people that you're closest to sometimes don't get it,
Right.
and you need to find somebody that does. And look, I'm not support group guy. I'm not gonna
Me
go
either.
sit at a meeting and in a folding chair and have coffee and cookies with people and then discuss my issues. That's not what I'm going to do. And we're lucky enough here to have an outlet to be able to do that. And I think that it's great that we are finally doing it.
Yes, absolutely. And I mean, I want to go backwards a little bit. I think we're going to start off talking about your accident first here, but I want to go backwards just to emphasize the point that we just made. When I floated back into your life, it was at a time that you were like at the height of your confusion of going through your losing your leg. You know, and with that, I'm sure, and tell me if any of this is wrong, I'm sure that when you were going through it, you just were like, I need someone to be able to talk to. And then you got to me who wasn't trying to softball you. You know, everybody when you're going through something, everybody's like, "Oh, it's going to be okay. You're going to be fine. You know, you're going to make it through this." And, you know, but it doesn't end up being that way. That feels like it's patronizing. To me, that always felt like it was patronizing. Like I was an invalid, and I didn't want to be an invalid. I wanted to be back to being who I was. So, you know, and this all of this leads into what we are doing with Limping into the Fire. So, as we said, both Seth and I have been through some major stuff. You know, Seth, I will start with you if your microphone works. There it is.
There it goes.
There it is.
Yeah. If you watch this show for very long, over the bunch of few weeks, you're gonna realize that I suck at internet and microphones.
Right.
So I'll have to buy 3 by the time the 4th show airs.
That's right.
So I'll start pretty much from the beginning of when I started getting sick. So I'm type 2 diabetic, and I had neuropathy in my feet.
Now let me stop you right there before you go any further. Were you
Yeah.
dealing with it, or were you just like, ah, fuck it, who cares?
I was kind of screwed. Who cares?
Okay.
Yeah, I've always been the kind of guy that doesn't like to go to the doctor. Like, it'll just be okay. Everything is going to be just fine. Don't worry about it.
Sure.
You know, even still to this day, after even going through what I've gone through, I hate going to the doctor, and I just kind of ignored it and thought, that's all right. It'll be all right. And so I did. I just kind of blew it off and
Right.
did what I had to do. Sometimes just didn't even look at my feet. I just wanted to see what's going on. I'm fine. Everything's okay.
Sure.
And it was stupid, obviously. But for a little while, all of a sudden, I'm feeling this pain in my right foot. And not a lot of pain because, again, it was tough to feel much of anything.
Mm-hmm.
But I was noticing even some blood in my shoe. And I'm not trying to be gross or anything. I'm just trying to be honest.
Being
about
real.
it.
Yeah.
And so I noticed blood, but again, I didn't think much of it. I just kind of kept putting on new socks and just kept going and putting up with the pain. I was like, okay, this is what, maybe I did something wrong. Maybe I'm deserving of this pain.
Sure.
And, you know, sitting there thinking stupid stuff like that. And I just kept doing it. One day, I had just gotten fired from the radio station I was working at the time. Right. And I was depressed and sad and whatever, but so I needed a vacation. My wife and I went down to South Carolina to visit my dad.
Okay.
And I laid down on the bed and I had my shoes off and I noticed something from the bottom of my shoe, and it was, pull it out. It was a big giant tack. Like, I don't know how it's a nail attack, but it had the head of like a tack, but it was very long, and
right.
It was sticking in the bottom of my shoe. Apparently, every time that I was putting on my shoe for God only knows how long, it was scraping and destroying the bottom of my foot.
Right.
And once again, I said, you know, this is not good. But I'm in South Carolina. I'm not going to go to the doctor. I'll take care of this when I get home.
Sure.
And when I got home, I started trying to plan to do a podcast because I had just lost the radio gig and
right.
I wanted to do something. And in that process, I started getting what I thought was like the flu.
Okay.
Even when I was in South Carolina, I had like flu symptoms, and every now and then I'd get the chills and aches and pains, and
sure,
I'd get sick to my stomach and stuff like that. But again, I thought it was the flu, and I'm like, I'll be all right.
Mm-hmm.
And then one day, it was a weekend, my wife came home from work and she had brought McDonald's home.
Okay.
Whatever. And she forgot to get me a Diet Coke.
Okay.
And I just started screaming at her. Like screaming. I don't know why either. But I was just not myself. I was just screaming at her, told her to F off, told her to get the hell out of my house.
Wow.
And it was really bad. She did. She took our daughter and she left.
What do you think caused it? Do you think it was sepsis? Like
in
your bloodstream?
So
okay.
That night, she was gone. And I don't remember really anything. I remember sitting down. I wrapped my leg up in a plastic bag, I think like a grocery store, because the blood was just everywhere.
Wow.
And I don't remember much anything after that. I know I was drinking because I wanted to get rid of the pain or whatever.
Sure.
And I didn't know what was going on, though. Next day, thank God she came home.
Right.
And found me sitting on the couch, and I was playing with my phone that was turned off. I was trying to change the channel on the TV that was turned off. And thank God she called an ambulance.
Sure.
And I remember the ambulance getting there. And again, the guy who hits doctors, I was terrified I saw an ambulance. But the last thing I remember, I asked the ambulance guy, I said, how long am I going to be gone?
Right.
And he looked at me, and I remember just his look. And he said, well, we'll have you back in about an hour.
Sure.
So I said, okay. And I agreed to get on the gurney or whatever.
Sure.
Get pushed out of the ambulance. And next thing you know, days later, I wake up from a coma with the tubes being ripped out of my throat. And then I went out again. I remember that part. And then next time I woke up, I looked down and my leg was gone.
Oof. So you didn't know it was going to be like, they probably did tell you, but you didn't remember?
I don't remember. My wife, I think, afterwards I talked to her and she had to sign to have it taken off. But I guess it was really bad. It didn't even look like a foot at some, at that point.
Sure.
And, my daughter was in the ICU with me and stuff like that. And they visited me while I was in the coma. And I mean, another episode that we should do is just talk about what it's like to be in a coma, because you and I have both been there.
Absolutely.
And I remember vividly everything that happened during that.
Same.
But waking up and seeing you have no leg was quite the shock.
I'll bet.
And
so talk about that moment, because I'm definitely going to talk about when I first looked, because that was a major deal to me, was looking and seeing what happened. For you, was it immediate? Like, did you know something was wrong and you just kind of peeked under and were like, holy shit, what happened? Or did somebody have to tell you, sorry, but we had to remove your leg, and then you looked? I mean, how did you come to look?
I know that I was pretty drugged up when they told me.
Yeah. All right.
But I at some point in my life, I think I did realize that, dude, you're going to lose your leg.
Right.
Don't go to a doctor. I guess it was a surprise to see it gone, but mentally not a surprise that it actually happened.
Okay.
But yeah, you look down, immediately everything starts going, what am I going to do? Am I going to die now?
Yeah.
Am I good to go? Or is this going to kill me? What's going on? And you're very confused. I mean, I had no idea what was going to go down. And they kept me pretty drugged up for a couple of weeks.
Right.
And, I remember, my family coming to see me and stuff like that. And I remember talking to friends, and a couple of good friends came and saw me quite often. And it was, I don't remember much of what I said to them.
Sure.
But I just remember seeing this giant swollen stump sitting there all bandaged up. And then I had to have another surgery to actually remove more of the leg. Which I had never had a surgery in my life.
Oh, wow.
I had never been under kind of any anesthesia or anything like that.
Right.
And it was kind of, that was kind of interesting because I, again, never had one. I just remember climbing onto a table, which is, again, no leg, fairly difficult.
Right.
And I counted like 3 and I was out and woke up with more of the leg missing.
Oof, yikes.
And then I proceeded to spend the next month and a half in the hospital rehabbing.
Right. And that's the worst. I don't care what anybody says. That once it's done and you're solo in that hospital and you're trying to figure it out, that is a lonely, lonely place. Because, man, family can't help you. Family can't even console you. At least for me. For me, I didn't want to hear from my mom. I didn't want to hear from my wife. I didn't want to hear from anybody. I was like, leave me alone.
It was quite the opposite for me. Okay. I was never more alone in my entire life than I was in that rehab hospital.
Okay.
I mean, I love my wife, and she didn't want to see me like that. And she hates hospitals and doctors and stuff, and didn't want to be around it. And I get it. I asked my daughter to stay home, home from school one day and just kind of hang out with me at the hospital. And,
Sure.
I think some other relatives said, no, you don't need to do that. And so I spent a lot of very lonely days, hated every second of it.
Sure.
And I thank God for the few friends that did really come and spend a couple of hours just hanging and talking with me. And, one of which I do a radio show with today. But he, was there and would wheel me outside and we'd sit and talk, and just getting outside and smelling air was good again.
Sure.
And, stuff that I never thought I'd have to go through, which I guess is stupid because we all go through crap. But I mean, I had to get an ambulance over to the hospital again to get heart checks and all this kind of stuff. Make sure I didn't have heart failure when I was there. Right. And I mean, it was a lot. And I'd never been more alone in my life. Ever.
Sure.
And then
I get it.
Even coming home, but talk about that another time.
Yeah. Well, my accident, a whole lot more immediate than yours.
Yeah.
Mine was, I was working in a steel mill. I was at the end of my shift. It was an overnight shift. The worst part about this, and I tell this story all the time, and it's still, my accident was in December of 94. So you guys can figure out, it's been a long time. It's been 32 years.
And by the way, I'm coming up on my 4-year anniversary in April.
So you're still going through it, really. I mean, you're probably adjusted now, but you're still going through it. Takes a minute. But I remember when my accident happened, I was working, and I had been off work for 6 weeks because I tore my MCL at the job. I tore my MCL on my left knee at the job. And I was so broke. I just didn't have enough money to live, and I was going to lose my apartment, whatever, and I had little kids and everything, that I just bandaged it up and went to work 2 weeks ahead of time, 2 weeks ahead of when I was supposed to come back. And the first night I went back is when I got blown up. The very, very first night when I wasn't even supposed to be there.
Ugh.
But yeah, I was at the end of a shift, and I was doing I had taken what they call a sample, which is when you're doing steel work, molten metal, you take what they call a sample, and you cut it open, you run it through a machine, and it tells you, well, it's got this percentage of this and this percentage of that. And, we're making ingots of certain kinds of steel or copper or whatever. So they have to be a certain mixture, I guess.
Right.
So what you end up doing is you end up doing what's called piping the furnace. When there's extra bullshit in the stuff, in the mixture, you put in an air pipe and you turn the air on, and it oxidizes out the excess stuff. Well, 99.99% of the time, I would have left this for the next guy, because it was literally, the shift ended at 7:30, and the guy told me to go do it at 7:20. So 99% of the time, I would have left it, but I didn't, and I went back out there and I stuck that pipe in there, and I turned that air on, and the fucking furnace just blew up. Boom. And it was 7,000 pounds of molten metal just getting me. It was like a fire hose. It was just, got me, and it threw me. The explosion was so tough that it threw me like 20, 30 feet, whatever, threw me straight back. And what I remember most, I didn't even realize I was burned at first. Like, I didn't black out or anything. I didn't realize I was burned. What I remember is my back hurt like no one's business because it threw me, and I hit my back on the mast of a tow motor. Thank God the things weren't up. The whatever you call those, the forks weren't up.
Yeah.
Thank God they were down. But I hit right on the mast, and then it flipped me down face first. And I remember laying there, and I was like, son of a bitch, that hurt. And I remember I got up, and I looked at my hand, and I could see the bones in this hand right here. I could just see the bones, and the tendons in my fingers here were all rolled to the back of my here. And I just remember sitting there going, man, this is really fucked up. I remember just sitting there thinking, man, this is really bad. And I started walking out, and I couldn't move my legs really good, and I couldn't really move very good. I was walking like, I don't know, you ever get a real bad sunburn?
Yeah.
You know how you walk when you got a real bad sunburn, so that like your shirt doesn't move or anything, so that nothing hurts. I'm kind of walking out like that. And then two guys come over and just start beating the hell out of me. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? What it was I was still on fire. I didn't know. And they got me out of the room, and they got me into an office, and they laid me on the floor. It was a dirty ass floor, but they got me on a floor, and they poured saline when the paramedics got there 20 minutes later, 15 minutes later, or whatever it was. They poured the saline on me, and like they put a white sheet over me, and it just turned bright red, like immediately, like I was bleeding everywhere. And I just remember like, oh my God. I remember I was yelling at the guys that were in the office. I was like, how's my face? How's my face? I knew I was bad, but I was like, don't let it be my face, to anything but that. I don't want to, because I had seen, I knew I was hurt, but you and I both know, you've seen these pictures of these guys that have been through burns on their face, and it just looks like, it looks like a melted pot. And I did not want that. I would have, quite honestly, if that would have happened, I probably would have took myself out. Honestly, I wouldn't have stayed too long for that, but I didn't. And thankfully, I only got burned a little bit on my face, which I'll show. It's right here. It's right here. That's why I always have a beard, because it covers the burn. But yeah, so they get me there. The paramedics come. One of the paramedics takes a look at me and throws up. He had never seen nothing like this. And but then he composed himself. They get me on a gurney. They get me out. They rush me to a helicopter. They take me to they get me on the helicopter and fly me to Metro. And the last thing I'll say before we get into this a little bit was my hand with this finger right here. I had a wedding ring on, and the tendon had kind of rolled up around it. They took the tendon. They were afraid I was going to lose my finger because everything was swelling and just a mess. Everything was a mess. They took the tendon, pulled it forward. It hurt like hell. And they took a pair of like lock cutters, or whatever you call those things, channel cutters, and they had to cut my wedding ring off. They had to cut it off, and they took half my finger with it. I mean, it hurt like hell. I remember feeling that. And the only reason I bring that up is because that's how my wife found out. She got to the hospital, and they handed her the cut off ring, and she lost her damn mind, as you can imagine, because she thought I was dead. And quite honestly, they get me to the hospital, and they land on the roof. They open the door, and immediately these doctors, like a gaggle of doctors, get around me and start working on me immediately, like on the roof, as they're moving. Like you've seen ER or something like that, where they're doing surgery or something on somebody as they're moving them to the ER. Well, they were doing this to me, and I'm screaming. And as you can imagine, it's all profanity. It's all, I am.
Yes, knowing you, yes, it's all
like,
profanity.
You better save my fucking life. You better save. I've got kids, motherfucker. I'm like going crazy, and I'm screaming. And I still remember my doctor, Dr. Freddie Ann, my hero in life, got right up in my face, like nose to nose, and he said, "If you don't shut up, you're gonna die." And I was like, okay. And I shut up. And I said, "Are you gonna get me through this?" And he said, "I don't know, but I know for a fact if you burn all your energy, you're not going to get through it. So let us do our shit." I was like, okay.
Well, I thought he was telling you to shut up, or he was actually going to kill you.
No. He just knew that I was expending the tiniest of energy that I had to get through the surgery. And and I went into surgery, and they put me out, and then I immediately slipped into a coma for 3 weeks. So, and it wasn't the induced coma, it was like the coma, and
Yeah.
that is how my thing started, man. And and then we got through it. Then came the very long trudge to get through it, which I don't know about you. I mean, well, I'll ask you. I don't know why I'm saying I don't know. I'll ask you. Do you feel like you're at the end, like you've crossed the finish line yet, or do you feel like you got a lot more to learn?
Oh, not even close. I mean, I'm still going through issues with my leg currently.
Right.
I got stuff that, I mean, it hurts to walk a lot. And, there's stuff that prevents you from doing it. Sometimes it's financial. I mean, there's some financial stuff going on with me that I can't afford to get for whatever reason, according to insurance companies and some places, walking is not something that you are required to do in life. And so they make it very difficult to get some of the stuff that you need.
They do.
I'm going through some of that right now. I got a problem with my leg that, it's hurting. I need a new like sleeve or whatever you call it on my leg. It goes underneath the prosthetic. And some of the stuff is like really embarrassing, dude. Like embarrassing because it bleeds sometimes underneath this thing.
Sure.
Right. And I'll be honest, it fucking reeks.
Oh, yeah.
And like, when some people are around you, you just know, and you're like, I just don't want to be around people right now
because I got to get
because
it's that dead necrotic skin smell.
And I got to go to a doctor. I just got my insurance, and so I'm going to be making an appointment to go see somebody. Just talk to a guy today. I don't know if he's listening. He said he's going to listen. Josh, who works at a prosthetic clinic, and then I'm going to go talk to him and see what they can do here. Because I mean, it's a never-ending process, and that's what people don't seem to understand. It's not like they just hook you up with a leg and say, "Here you go, go,"
no,
and then you don't ever go back to the doctor again.
No.
I mean, it's a never-ending thing. It's going to be this way for my entire life. Whether I gain weight, lose weight, always going to need to change stuff. And Bob is listening today too, and he's another
amputee as well, right?
Amputee, and he's a good man. He reached out to me when he got his, because it was kind of close to each other that I got out of the hospital, and then he got a hold of me and we talked, and it does help to know people that go through the same stuff.
It does, because.
But no, as far as it's never ending. Never. So do I feel like I'm anywhere near the finish line? No.
Dude, I don't feel like I'm near the finish line.
Whether it's depression or problems, it's always something.
Yeah. I mean, I don't feel like I'm near the finish line. I mean, mine's been a long, long time, 32 years. I'm not afraid anymore. Like, I won't lie. I spent 10 years where I would not go around anything with fire. 10 years. And I wasn't even really burned with fire. I was burned with liquid metal. But for 10 years I wouldn't go to, people would invite me to a barbecue or something, and they would have like a, what do you call that? A pit, fire pit or whatever. Yeah, I wasn't going to that. 10 years. Fireworks. Never went to fire. Never took my kids after that day to a fireworks display for July 4th. Never. Because I couldn't do it. I would hear the first boom, and it would take my brain instantly back to looking down at my fucking burned up, messed up hand. And it was awful.
Yeah. Bob, your friendship too, my friend. One of the biggest issues that I still have to this day is I don't like going certain places that I don't know. I don't mind being around people because it is what it is. And I think it's funny when kids look at it and kind of stare at me and ask me what happened. And I tell them shark attack but like if I don't know what a parking lot looks like or what the inside of a store looks like, I'm very hesitant to go anywhere because it's you don't know what the terrain's going to be like. You don't know. I mean, like last week was a nightmare for me.
Okay.
Because it snowed like crazy here. And even at my work, they do a very poor job of plowing the drive and the parking lot, and then I went to like the handicapped area where I'm supposed to go into the building, completely covered in snow. Couldn't do anything. And I mean, it's very difficult to navigate with the one-legged sometimes. It really is.
Well, from what I've heard, and I don't know this to be true, you could tell me if it's true or not. I've been told that walking on a prosthetic leg is kind of like you have one leg that's on solid ground, and then you have another leg that's on like a pack of Legos, because you can't really feel it, but it might shift. You know what I mean? The foot might shift or whatever, because you really can't feel. Like most everybody that's listening right now knows when you go outside, you walk on ice, you kind of do that slower shuffle step and you can feel your balance or whatever. For you can only feel half of that.
It's definitely.
And you probably, correct me if I'm wrong on this, I haven't seen it, but I would imagine you walk close to cars so that you can put your hand on the car to kind of walk your way through and use the car, almost everybody's car, as like a brace. Yes?
Like I felt like a jackass the other day because I was walking out of work and it snowed. There was a lot of ice and stuff. And the parking lot was, at that point, by the time I left work, it was fairly clear, but still there were patches of black ice and stuff that you couldn't see. And I know I had the parking lot's on like a little bit of a hill. So walking down it is always more difficult for me than walking up it. I'm sure everybody's different. But I held on to Jake's backpack as he was walking so I could get down without slipping and dying. Sure. Even today, again, I'm sure everybody's different. So feel free to text in. Let me know what your issues are. But I was coming upstairs to do the show, and it was kind of like I keep looking down at my right leg to make sure it's actually fully on the step before I go up again. And maybe I don't do it enough, and that's the problem. Maybe I don't go up and down stairs enough to make it really, really easy. But these are things, I mean, I'm sure we're going to talk about all this stuff, but there's some stuff that it just continues.
Yeah, it never stops.
It's frustrating.
This is a totally different thing, but it's similar. This arm here, I don't know if you can really see it real good, but this is like the most grafts that I have here. This is all graft. This is all grafted skin on this arm. And the sad truth is that I can't feel it. I mean, I don't feel shit. I don't feel nothing on it, because the nerve endings are compressed underneath the skin. So I mean, I can feel pressure, but I can't feel like you would feel like a cut or something. So this arm is almost always, and you can even see it right now. I don't know if you can see this or not, but there's a scar right here. For the last 30 years, this arm is always cut up. Always. Because I don't feel anything. I don't feel it. Now, my son makes fun of me when I walk down the hallway a lot of times because he'll hear me bang my arm on a door because I just don't feel the door. You know what I mean? I just don't feel it. And I'll be walking down the hallway and bing, I hit the doorknob or whatever.
I'm going to go against your little rule for today. Go ahead. Just for today, anyways. Just because it's our first show and welcoming some new people to this. One of the texts from Rumble.
From who?
Bren Lucia.
I'm a female one?
Yeah.
Right. There we go.
I'm a female, left below the knee amputee, and I will attest you need a good prosthesis. Yeah. Yeah. I do. And I think I'm going to see one. Like I said, I just got my insurance back for the next year, and so I need to go get some stuff taken care of. There's no doubt. But these stupid legs aren't exactly cheap. I mean, this leg that I'm having on right now is like $15,000.
Yeah. And will have to be adjusted.
It's really easy back in the old days. Right? I mean, it was easy back in the old days. Just stick a peg on there and hobble around.
Captain Blyett.
Yeah, I can go to the woods in the back of my house here and make my own. I have to walk up sideways on certain slopes. Yeah.
I get that.
I mean, that's how I learned to. By the way, I found out my microphone is motion detected.
Is that what it is?
So all the time when I've been banging it
Yeah.
for no reason for the past 3 years, I didn't need to do that.
Nice.
That's why I was taught to walk when I was in rehab, is sideway up
Sure.
and down like ramps and stuff. And but still, there are times where you get out in the middle of a ramp, right, in a parking lot, and your brain just freezes and goes, "Oh my God, I'm stuck out here on an island all by myself. If I fall right now, people are going to laugh at me. Nobody's going to be here to help me. It's going to be horrible. I'm going to hurt myself." And your brain just screws with you. Even today, I was walking out, and I knew the parking lot was fine, but it's down like a slope. And I'm walking gingerly and trying to get there. And then the next thing you know, my brain goes, "Oh, I almost fell." And I mean, it's just, it's crazy. The stuff that just continues. By now, I should be an expert. You would think of doing this, doing that, doing it, but it's just not.
Well, you shouldn't be. And I'll tell you why you shouldn't be. Because literally every last little tiniest thing in your life has changed. And it takes 10 plus to really adjust to all that. Dude, it took me forever to get used to, the like little things, the littlest things that probably nobody thinks about. Like, you remember the Great White Fire when all the people died at Great White?
Yes.
I have not been in a club since my accident that the first thing I did wasn't scoped out every single how to get the fuck out of here. And thought, who do I got to knock over to get out of here? Because I'm getting out of here if something breaks out. And it's because I think this way. I remember how bad it hurt.
Now, another question for you. I mean, mine's just because I'm fat, but are you self-conscious, like around women or people about like your shirt? I mean, every time I see you, you're wearing hoodies.
Yeah, really, I'm not bad about it. I don't worry about it terribly. I tell them straight up, they know ahead of time what's coming, the disaster that is me, and they can deal with that or not. And I don't worry about it. Dude, somewhere along the way, and I don't know that this is a good answer or a good thought or whatever, but I just decided somewhere along the way, I got hurt at work. I got hurt doing my job. I got nothing to be embarrassed about. Nothing.
Yeah.
I got scars. So fucking what? So does everybody. Everybody has scars of something on them. I don't worry too terribly much about that. I'll tell you where it gets weird, though, is little kids, like you mentioned. Because you go in a grocery store, and it's really, this is the worst case scenario. The kids are innocent. The kids generally, you walk up on a 5-year-old kid, they see the burns for me, and they're like, "Mom, what happened to him? How come he's all burned up or whatever?" They just say what's normal. And that doesn't bother me at all. What bothers me is the parent reaction. It's like, "Oh, don't say that to him. Oh my God, you're going to say it." It's like, relax, lady. People go through stuff. I'm fine. But they don't know. They don't know.
I was sitting in a wheelchair early on, and my wife and I went out to breakfast at a restaurant, and I'm just sitting there, and a bunch of people waiting for tables, and this little boy, could have been more than 3 or 4, comes walking up to me, is looking at me, then puts his head down, is looking at the leg, the leftover leg, and starts waving his hands underneath. Like, where is it? I'm like, yeah.
You're like, hey, make it reappear, kid.
Yeah. Like, I've tried every cream known to man. It's not growing back, son.
That's funny. Oh my God, that is funny, man. But
yeah, you're right. The kids, I don't care. A lot of kids say, "Look, I mean, I have a Superman logo on my prosthetic, and kids love it." And so, "Oh, I like Superman." That's fine. It's the parents, like you said, are kind of annoying.
And everybody handles their thing differently. Some people, like, I handle mine with humor. I don't care. I will answer any question about anything. I don't care. I wrote a book that is so telling, probably way more than I should have told about some of the stuff in the book. But, I don't worry about it. I don't care. But at the same time, are there things that I still get bummed out about? Sure. Are there moments that I get bummed out? Yeah. There's definitely like I'll be honest, the one thing that bugs me, and like I said, it's been 32 years. But the one thing that bugs me more than anything is the weight. Because I never had any weight before I got hurt. When I got hurt, I was 220. Now I'm 420.
Yeah.
but
I'd like to say the same about me, but I was a fat piece of crap before.
Dude, I was
lost my
I was in pretty good shape. I mean, I wasn't in great shape, but I was in pretty good shape. And the thing is, with all these grafts, I'm 69% burned, 52% third degree with grafts. All of the grafts, like I said, they don't have nerve endings on them. They also don't have pores. There's no pores in this. This is like if somebody stapled a raincoat to your arm. It really is. And it's always hot. Dude, it's 60 fucking degrees and I'm hot. I'm sitting in here in this office. It's literally 55 degrees in here and I'm hot. Look, I got the sleeves even rolled up on the hoodie because I'm hot. And there's that. But the other thing is that like to work out, if I go and work out more than 15, 20 minutes, the sweat will kind of bunch up underneath the graft and I'll feel it and it hurts. And if I'm not super careful about it, they have to go in and cut it off. There's no sticking a needle in there and draining it. They got to cut a piece off and cut a piece off my back and fix it. So needless to say, I can't work out more than 10, 15 minutes at a time. And it let me get to be a big fat tub of goo.
I mean, I've had trouble with working out myself just because I've had a lot of pain for a while now. And I remember the one time my wife and I were going to the rec center and stuff, and I was doing all right with getting on bikes and stuff and moving around a little. It was okay. The biggest pain I had was walking to the machines, but when I was on it, I could do it. But I got onto a treadmill because I was finally okay to use the treadmill at the gym. I was using it at the rehab center a lot, and it was fine. And I went to the gym, and my wife was on one of the treadmills. I'm on the one next to her. And all of a sudden, I just felt it click. The pin came out of my leg, and I fell. The leg went flying across the room on the treadmill, and I went straight to the ground like a bag of rocks. And it hurt bad, man. I mean, like, landed on my stump area. And I know people like John Drake are sitting out there laughing at me, thinking that was the funniest thing. Wish he had video of it and stuff like that. But and maybe it was funny. It could have been funny to a lot of people, but I was in a lot of serious pain. And now I couldn't get up. My leg was laying across the room. And my wife started crying. And I had people literally that were in the gym walking over me to get to their machine or whatever. Their machines. Yeah. Not one fucking person stopped and helped me. No. Not one. My wife had to grab a chair so I could try to and again, this is pretty early on me being out of the hospital. Right. I mean, I had just gotten this prosthetic leg. Not this one, the previous one. And nobody would help.
Well, that is kind of the
I laid there like a big tub of lard on the ground trying to get up onto a chair so I could put my leg back
That's an overwhelming theme, though, man, is that you find out really quickly when you go through something like this who's real and who's not. Because, everybody always says, oh, anything you need, anytime, bro. If you ever need anything, I'm right there for you. Then when you get into actual need and you ask, then there's always that, well, I would, but, I got this thing tonight. But, you find out real quick who's real and who's not. Yes? It's crazy.
You absolutely do. I mean, I had friends that I worked with for years that I considered really good friends, right? And then, as you know, as soon as this leg thing happened, I didn't hear from anyone. Not a one.
Shoot, I hadn't talked to you.
Say, hey,
I had not talked to you in probably 15, 20 years. And I actually came into your life because of it. Because I wanted to. I came into your life because I had been there. And I was like, I am not letting an old bro go through this solo. I had that intention. Ask Billy. I said that to Billy when I called him to find out when and where the thing was that you were doing, the tribute thing or whatever that was, the benefit thing.
that
Yeah.
Billy did for me. Yeah.
And that's when me and your paths crossed. But I really had it in my head that I might be able to help someone. And obviously our accidents are very, very different, but I think they are mentally 1,000% the same.
Oh, no doubt.
I mean, it's different things, but it's the same mental thing. It's really, it's hard to explain. I'm going to answer one of these here from Cody. Would you feel hot even outside when it's freezing? Well, here's the thing, Cody. For me, I don't feel on a lot of the skin, so that there doesn't feel temperature per se, but the tips of my fingers all lost all the little tiny bit of fat that you have in your fingers. So my fingers get like within 2 seconds, I go outside and it's snowy out, my fingers hurt. Like they're getting frostbitten just because they hurt. And the other thing that I have that's bad is when the thing blew up, I did what you do. You inhale, and I inhaled like 700-degree air, and it singed the top portions of my lungs. So the top portions of my lungs don't work real well, and it leads me to avoiding the cold like the plague, because when it's cold outside, man, I can't breathe at all. My think about your own self. When you go outside and it's cold, your lungs contract a little bit and you end up taking a little bit deeper breaths. Well, I can't take those deep breaths. So I have to get the hell out of there as quick as I can, or else I'm done. So yeah, I can feel it somewhat, Cody, but not in the way you do. I'll put it that way. But
it is crazy, dude.
It is. It's a totally weird, and I say weird because you can't explain it. You just can't. You can't tell people exactly how to understand it, and that is maybe the worst part of everything, is that when you're going through it, everybody. And I might be speaking out of turn, Seth. Tell me if I am. Everybody in your life tries to be sympathetic. They do try to be sympathetic. Sometimes, but a lot of times the things that they say while trying to be sympathetic make you just think, why don't you just go and jump off a cliff and die? Because there's times when you're going through this mental mind shift, there's times that somebody's saying, like, I'll tell you one that drove me crazy, and I ended up yelling at people and throwing them out of my room. People would come into my room in the hospital. Now, admittedly, I was barely out of a coma. I was tied Jesus on the cross to the bed because they had to do graft work on my shoulders and stuff, and they had to keep them stretched. And people would come into my room, especially like the priest that was walking through the, you know how they have the priest that comes through and visits all the patients or whatever. And even just friends of my wife's that were like religiously inclined. And they would all say stuff like, God must have been looking out for you. And I was like, you know what? Well, that motherfucker closed his eyes for a minute because I got smoked. And I want to hear this. And I know that it was said with the best of intention. I know that. I know they weren't trying to be an asshole. They were trying to say, you know what? There's a higher power that realizes your value. I understand that. But in the moment,
is that true though?
That's what they meant. That's what they meant.
I know that's what they meant. And I had the same kind of feeling, well, you're here for a reason. What would that be? Or how about you could consider yourself lucky you were saved by
really?
And I'm like, well, wait a second. How about you get that lucky and I'd have my leg returned
Yeah.
to me, please? I mean, I'm sorry, but it's not that
Yeah. How
great.
about I went through 22 surgeries in 14 months, had to do rehab 6 days a week for 14 months. Some of the rehab ended early because grafts and stuff would get torn, would literally tear, and I would start bleeding, and they would we used to have to do this thing. I don't know what it's called, but it's like a little wheel. It's like a wheel thing. It's over your
Yeah.
head. And you just grab the pegs. You just grab the pegs, and they make you do it for about 15
Right.
minutes. And it was for these grafts that I have right here on both of my, I guess, the shoulder or armpit or whatever. And
Yeah.
I would do it. I'd be doing it. And then the nurse would be like, stop, 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 stop. And I'd be like, what? And I'd look down, and my whole shirt would be blood red. And it's because I couldn't feel anything, but I was literally ripping this one here, the left side. I ripped it so bad one time it needed 52 stitches, and I didn't feel it.
Well, aren't you glad God saved you for that?
Yeah, sure am. Thank God he was there to give me the magic potion to let me go through that. I'm sure glad I got to feel that fun.
And you're right. I mean, people have
They
the
do.
best of intentions. It's not my point to like say that they're doing a
No.
bad job or they're not doing something nice. But sometimes people try to help you out of the car.
Yeah.
People try to do this. Like, can you let me just figure this out, please?
Well, that
Like now you're just getting in my way of me trying to
Right.
do what I have to do, which is get out of my damn
adjusting
car.
to what my life has to be. Yeah,
Right.
and I mean that is kind of the whole.
Are you gonna be there tonight when I go to bed and I need help getting out of the bed into a wheelchair to go to the bathroom at night?
Yeah.
No.
When it's too hot in your
And then-
your room and you want to kick off a blanket like you've done for the first 40 years of your life, but now you can't because there's no leg there.
Can't do it.
Now you have
Right.
to literally. And again, I haven't slept with you yet, Seth. I'd like to. Oh boy, would I
Not yet.
like to? But
Maybe.
yeah. But I mean,
that mess.
I
Oh,
mean,
God.
the reality is and I'm guessing here, but you tell me if I'm wrong. To get a blanket off of you, you got to kind of sit up, push it off with your hands, then get yourself back in bed and get yourself back situated, all while not knocking your wife over or waking her up or anything.
Well, dude, I'll tell you what. I mean, I'm being honest with you. There's plenty of times when we don't sleep next to each other because I can't turn over to the other side of the bed without grabbing the other side of the bed. There are times, and I'm probably not doing things right, but this is the way that I have to do them. At night, I kind of wear this stupid sleeve that attaches to my leg when I go to bed because I can't. What do you want me to do? I have to get out of bed. I have to get into a wheelchair or a walker or something and then hop my way to the bathroom and try to use the restroom with holding on to a walker or something and then holding on to what I got to hold on to go to the bathroom with. And then
try to go back to sleep after you've done all that.
And then try to go back to sleep. And so I wear this stupid pin. You realize my other leg is cut up now because I cut it with the stupid pin? And I got band-aids all over everything on me. And it's not fun. And it's not easy. And there are many a night that I climb back into that wheelchair after taking a piss, which is normal for everybody else in this world. And I sit in that wheelchair going, before I climb back in, is this the rest of my life?
Right. Yeah, I mean.
And there are times where I will cry myself back to sleep thinking, yep, it is.
Yeah.
This is it. Ain't going to get much better than this. In fact, it'll probably get worse.
Yeah, but you find your way. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. Is you
Well, that's
find
just
your
it.
way.
And at the end of the day, I crawl into bed and then wake up with a smile on my face because I'm happy to be alive.
Exactly. And that's kind of, my doctor, when I got, I'll say cleared, I guess, for lack of a better term, after 14 months, I was cleared to go back to work. And when he cleared me to go back to work, he gave me a little, this is what you need to be doing. You can't be doing this kind of work anymore. You can't do that. No more, no more furniture moving or any of this kind of shit because you'll tear up your grafts and you'll end up having recurring surgery. Like there was a lot of things I wasn't allowed to do. But the one thing that he did say to me, which stood out, and I'm super proud that he was wrong. He told me, because I asked him, and my wife wanted to know, but I said, how long am I going to be able to live like this? I took damage to my lungs. I took some damage to the sac around my heart, obviously the skin, I mean, it was a mess. It was a bad mess. And the doctor said, well, if you make it to 55, you should be happy. Be happy if you get that many days. 55. Now I was 26, so 55 seemed like a million years away, but I just passed it. Like I'm at 57 now. I've been given 700 days I wasn't supposed to get. And knock wood, I'm going to get 701 starting tomorrow.
Well, let's do more than that. We just
Yeah,
started
well,
this
you
show.
know what I mean though, man. It's like
I
it's
know.
like no matter my point that I'm trying to make here is that no matter what you're told, how you're told you're going to be, it's really up to you to what you do. I can't speak for everybody, but I do speak for me when I say I think the one reason that I've been able to survive and not, I think if I would have become like so many people, and I'm sure you have these guys in the amputee world as well, there's a lot of people that go through something and that is the end of their life. They're done.
Yes.
Oh, I lost and I mean, it doesn't even have to be a leg. It doesn't even have to be a burn. It could be losing a finger. I've told this story 100 times. I actually got, you mentioned at the beginning about going to support group. I got kicked out of support group for hammering on a guy. This guy, he was a black dude. He fell in a bucket of tar, hot tar. He was on a roof, like tar on a roof, and he fell and it burned his hand. 2nd-degree burns, burned off the top layer of skin, but that's the pigment skin. So he had a white hand. This guy was acting like he lost his damn hand. And he was going on and on and on in the support group about, I can't go on, and oh my God, and my life is over, and I'm going to commit. He literally said he was going to commit suicide. And I looked at this guy, and I was like, would you shut the fuck up? You haven't been through nothing. You got a scratch. Come into my world, asshole.
I mean, Habu says, what do you say about people just don't know what to say? I understand that. And I'm not expecting them to understand or know what to say to me. But sometimes just back off or don't say anything at all. I mean, you wouldn't say anything to me if I was just a fat guy walking down the street. But because I'm missing a leg, all of a sudden you want to be Mr. Helper. I'm still a person just trying to live my life. And I appreciate your concern and I appreciate, whatever. But at some point, especially people that know you, just chill out a little bit. I'll ask for help if I need it.
Sure.
But I mean, and we should probably get this one wrapped up.
Answer this one
today, but you're not feeling
very
good.
sick. But I will answer this question. Over the years, didn't any of your doctors revise the "be happy if you get to 50"? No, they did not. They saw me balloon up and were surprised that I was still alive. Quite honestly, the doctors wanted me to go on the rice cake diet. They wanted me eating, a rice cake and broth every day, and I call it the Steven Tyler diet. Like Steven Tyler was asked once why he's never had a piece of birthday cake, and he's like, because I don't want to have to do the work to work it off. Well, I am of the very opposite mental case for that. Of I've been through so much. If I want a piece of pizza, damn it, I'm going to eat it, and no one's going to tell me different. And to answer your question, Scooby, they did not revise it. If anything, they probably thought I was going to die younger because I was so fat. But, it is what it is.
Real quick, I want to say hi to Brenda. Sure. She's the one that's been commenting in. She had sent me some messages on Facebook earlier, and might actually like to have her on the show sometime soon, but not, maybe next week or the week after, something like that.
Well, and that's the thing.
She has a story to tell, and
by all means,
she does voiceover work, so I can actually ask her, hey, where do you get some?
Yeah, there you go.
Work. But yeah, Brenda's been checking. I appreciate Brenda joining us on this first show, and everybody is.
And that's what this show is going to be.
Feel free to take advantage of the comments.
And that is what this show is going to be. It's not going to be just me and Seth telling endless stories. We're going to have people on, whether it's people from medical places or people that have gone through stuff, or we have a blind guy that's coming on in a couple of weeks. And you said we got Brenda here coming on maybe in a week or two. So we're gonna get other people's ideas as well, and
it's not going to be us just bitching about our lives.
Because look, I again, I don't speak for anybody but myself, but I know I do a lot of things wrong. I do a lot of things wrong for my recovery from burn survival, or into burn survival rather. I do things wrong. And there's people, and I'm sure you do the same thing, Seth, with the amputation. You know, I'm sure somebody's going to say something to you or to me or to both of us that's going to click in our head, and we're going to be like, oh yeah, that does make sense.
Should be doing that.
You know, because we don't know. I mean, we didn't have, again, the goal of this podcast is to kind of share this. And look, if people are listening, and even if they don't have a thing themselves, but let's say they got a grandmother that's going through cancer or something, come on, let's talk about it. Let's talk about how you get through it. You know, I can talk about that too. I went through a year of cancer treatment with my son. You know, we could talk and talk strategy and
no doubt,
whatever.
Yeah, I mean, we're not doctors. We're just people that are trying to survive day to day, and we got some major issues, and we're happy to share our stories and hear from other people. So,
all right, I think that is enough for today. Thank you everybody for watching. It is very much appreciated. This show will be every Monday, so be planning to limp into the fire with us every Monday.
Out of the fire.
Well, we want them to limp into the fire with us.
I understand, but
we're limping out, but we want them to limp in.
Limp into our fire.
We'll limp out of it on your dead back.
Hands.
All right, we are done.
Right,
thank you so much for watching, everybody, and we will check you guys out next time. See ya.
See ya.
This is